Understanding the technology that powers the money is essential. Knowing the business drivers that inspire how the money is made is crucial. Bridging the gap between the mind of the technologist and the mind of the business is monumental. That is what TBF is all about. Let's start this never-ending conversation. It's time.
Happy Friday. My name is Nnamdi Osuagwu, host of the Tech Behind FinTech. Thanks for joining me on another Friday live episode of our show. Some housekeeping stuff. We are streaming live from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. Let me just organize some things real quick. Okay, yeah. So in general, right? Really excited for today's show. You can drop your comments in and you'll be part of the episode. Or if you're on Instagram, you can visit techbehindfintech.com if you want to see the show from the YouTube perspective and so forth. Or you can stay on Instagram. You don't have a guest today, so I am doing a solo show. So today's topic, right? Bright lights, big insights, my first time in Money 2020. Just wanted to take a moment just to go over the experience. It was a major FinTech event, and just want to do a quick recap, on my personal experience. So real high level stuff. I'm just going to talk through for this episode, and then next week we'll be back to our guest and full shows on our topics and things of that nature. Just adjust things. Okay, pull up. Put the comments on. All right, where do I start? Right. Really interesting experience. We started on Sunday. It went through whole of Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Felt like it was, I don't know, from morning till evening, constantly different breakout sessions, and definitely learning a lot from those sessions, more so learning from the people that you meet. So I was there on a press pass representing this podcast, Tech Behind FinTech. So it was really good to have conversations. I didn't do live podcasting at the event. Maybe next year we'll look into that. This was more having offline or off the record conversations, and in general, just getting some insights and setting up our guest appearances for next year. So I have quite a few people I'll be following up with for guest slots in 2024 to bring that to you and gain their insights on their exciting companies, things they're working on, and so forth, like we always do. So that was really positive. Got in Saturday night into Vegas. In this particular situation, have a family friend out there, so was chilling with them. Shout out to Owner B. So that was cool. Then Sunday, woke up and got to it. I think the first session on Sunday was around 9 a.m., if not before. I got there midday. I always have to get my morning workout in before I start making moves to places. So that's non-negotiable. And just really getting in the flight and the time difference. So got there, met some interesting people at lunch. You'll see, that's the thing, right? It's all different. What I've learned over the last few days is it's not just one type of company that you'll meet or one entity. You saying, it's only going to be startups there and some VCs. No, it's really every and anyone dealing with money, right? Dealing with finance. So they came, one surprising attendee or attendees that I met are those representing local governments or local, representing their city and so forth. And, some of them work for some sort of, economic development center within their city. And one of their goals is to really talk to up and coming fintechs to get them to relocate and headquarter in their city. Shout out to James, representing Pittsburgh. That's my guy. We met, I think Sunday, became fast friends. So I've seen him throughout. Also met someone even talking to people about Calgary in Canada. And it was interesting because of all the stats that she was talking about and how fast it was growing in terms of the technology scene and the fintech community there, especially when we had some issues here in the States with H-1B visas, and they were basically giving people with technology backgrounds, making the process seem easier for immigration. So you start to see that it's not necessarily like my preconception from going in. It's like, okay, it's going to be these types of attendees, but you start seeing the full gamut. Obviously, from on the journalist side, people representing various news outlets and so forth, they're also there. Small podcasters or different media entities like myself. So it's just anyone who touches technology, money, or on the business side, banking. Met someone who was representing, Wells Fargo, and their main thing is small businesses, and they had a stand out there. I think Robert, yeah. So that was an interesting conversation, and just going over, how to make that process easier for small businesses to open an account. Maybe some people in that community that don't speak English too well, but they have a business, and just going through those different processes. So it's really anyone touching finance in any which way, shape, or form. Cybersecurity, fraud, big topic. Quite a few sessions on fraud. I gave an example. So what I was doing daily vlogs, and I gave this one example that I found interesting. It was a money laundering scheme that was uncovered by I think his name was Dan McCrum, Financial Times reporter. And I found it fascinating, in a sense that you have I guess if we're all involved in some sort of illicit activities, and we had a network, and we have these e-commerce sites with highly overpriced items like bottle of water or whatever for like 1,000 or whatever, and we're just using that to exchange money and launder money. I just found that scheme interesting. That's one of the things that stuck out to me. You start, and obviously you guys know me, right? I'm a podcast host, but by trade, cybersecurity consultant. So I'm always fascinated by these types of crimes and different threats and different things of that nature. Another breakout session that I enjoyed, I talked about this in the vlog, was the compliance as a competitive advantage, right? So one of the things in the consulting company I work for, Strategic Generation, right, we talk about using cybersecurity for partner and sales enablement. So listening to a session where they talk about compliance as a competitive advantage was like, boom, they get it, right? So how are you basically setting up especially, this is October, is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, if you don't know that, right? So it's like, how are you setting up your security or your compliance so that could be a competitive advantage? And one of the major takeaways that was talked about was the idea of building trust, right? So if, I was just in just talking to my team. So, and the idea of building trust when you talk about security and compliance, especially, right, for fintechs that are partnering with banks or having to do business with banks. Sometimes the working theory is, all right, I'm going to show them this great product, and you get everything through, and they love you, and then they get this due diligence process, and you start checking off boxes and so forth. And some you don't have things in place, and what I don't think a lot of fintechs get sometimes is, when you're dealing with people in compliance or cybersecurity or regulators, once something unravels, right, it's a little bit something off, they'll pull on that string even more and more and more. So one of the things with the breakout sessions, and something that I totally believe in, is when you establish your compliance or your security practices early on in your process and early on in the due diligence process, even before they ask, you build trust, right? So it was just great hearing someone echo the same things that I believe in, and I've been also talking to my clients about. So it was really good. I really enjoyed that session. So before I get into the sessions, let me just paint the scene and paint the picture of some of the experiences. When I say colossal, oh my goodness, 100% colossal. I mean, it took place in the Venetian. So really cool point, right? I learned how to use the monorail in Vegas, and I was like, it was just the whole. This particular Vegas trip was so funny to me. It was because full disclosure, right? This is the first time I've been to Vegas without my friends, and doing some wild things. That was a long time ago. So to be in Vegas in this particular mode, 100% sober. Oh, Kevin just joined from Instagram. We are streaming live from Instagram. What's up, Kevin? Yeah. So to be there was interesting. And also, usually I stayed on the strip and whatever. This time I stayed a little off. Well, I stayed on off strip, but across the street from one of the hotels. I think one of so in Vegas, I just learned this, right? I felt like I'm a Vegas native now. Um, they have this thing called the monorail, and the monorail essentially is an external train that's automated. They don't have a drive. It's all done electronic, but it goes all across the strip, stopping at different hotels. So, and this is just an inside tip, if you're ever at a conference in Vegas and you want to save a little bit of money, because let's say, I think the Venetian was like 1,200 a night. It was like really expensive. And I know guys, I met VCs that like dudes have like millions. They were like, nah, I'm staying off the strip. They're not spending some of their money on that. But anyway, right? So here's a pro tip that I discovered. And so I'm just giving you the whole experience. Get a cheaper hotel along the monorail, maybe a little bit further away from the Venetian, because the monorail you could just hop on and it costs about $5.50 for your one-way ticket. You could get the full day. I didn't get a 24-hour pass. I think it was necessary, so I just needed it to go to point A and then back to when I was done. So that was cool. Staying alongside the using that particular service. So anyway, it took place in the Venetian, and I don't know if they're going to constantly do it next year in the Venetian, but I don't see why they wouldn't. But if they do, you get off on the monorail at Harrah's, which is right next door to the Venetian, and you just walk. And it was so cool because the maybe the third day or the second day, one of those days, I'm a pretty friendly person, so and I say hi to like everyone. I don't care, that's how I am. So it was like someone who worked there, I guess in maintenance at the Harrah's. I was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? He was like, hey man, what's going on? And I said, yeah, I'm going to the conversation came up and I'm going to Medici. So yeah, you want me to show you a shortcut? I was like, yeah. So show me this quick way to get around. And he was like, just really cool vibe. So I just think in general, it's always good to have that type of attitude. So I totally went in a so like I'm giving you the whole picture. I'm giving you inside tips on how to get to the conference and stuff. So hopped on a monorail on a daily basis. Hopped off, got off at Harrah's. Eventually found a shortcut to the Venetian. And when you are assigned, when you first get there. So Sunday was my first day. Well, for everyone's really first day, but I think the press, you could have got your badge early, a day before on Saturday. But even though I arrived a little bit later on Saturday, so I wasn't going to do that. Then you're instructed to go get your badges. So pretty straightforward process. They have people that work there assigned, so they're always directing you or scanning your badge. So once you get this badge you wear around your neck, that's like your ticket to everywhere. So they have areas that you can go in or you can't go in depending on your badge. Some people's badge said all access. I had a media partner badge for Tech Behind FinTech. So I mean, everywhere I went, that there were some like security guards who scan your badge. I was pretty much let in. I know that it was one room for a session that press or media partners could not get into. It was called a room called Off the Record. And they had sessions with interesting topics I actually wanted to be a part of. I wanted to not be, I wanted to actually attend, but I read in the fine print that media is not allowed. And I guess that's the whole point. It's off the record. People are going to say things that they don't want recorded, or the speakers or panelists are going to say things that they don't want recorded. But other than that, I had access to all the different places. So it tons of other guests. So I think I heard, I have to confirm this. A number was about 4,000 to 5,000. I mean, it was massive. It was just a lot of people there from all, like I said, all different types of attendees. So then, you had speakers in which a lot of the sessions consisted of panels. Some sessions were, one person, but most of the sessions that I attended and that I noticed also, it had various people speaking, or, like a major one when you just have two people that, maybe they are at a certain stage in terms of a unicorn status, or they're VCs that funded, for years. So that was an interesting situation there, where it'll just be two people talking and like interviewing each other and going back and forth. But most of the educational sessions were more panel based. So you have that, right? So if you look at, like, so we start by Sunday, attended a few sessions on Sunday, and then also just like meeting people, right? So I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Just start talking. Everyone is there like you. They're attending. They want to represent their business. Or they have an app for Money 2020. So in the app, it has what are you there for, and you could look different companies up and different people, and you could request a meeting. Not saying that they're going to grant it to you, so you can request it. I don't know. I found that part. That was interesting, because sometimes there's so many things happening, and with such a huge place, sometimes coordinating meetings is almost just like, all right, I'm gonna link up with you, like when I'm free. But the exact timing of the meeting, I had a situation like that. I'll talk about that afterwards. Well, in the same conversation. So that's one. You could request meetings. You could check box. What are you there for? Are you there to are you looking to raise money? Are you looking to invest? Are you looking for whatever? They have a couple of options you check, so people read your profile. They can kind of get a gauge of what you're doing. So Sunday was interesting, and every night after all the breakout sessions, every night there was some sort of activity. Whether they rented out a couple of restaurants. Sugarcane was one. The Venetian, if you've been to the Venetian, you might know Sugarcane, it's Chicas and different things. So they were all like rented out. So then you can go there afterwards. And obviously, so you just have to get used to your badge being constantly scanned. So it's not one of those situations where you take your badge off and put it somewhere. You just keep it on you, because everywhere you go, that badge is going to be scanned if you want access. So, during the days of sessions, in the evenings, there's some sort of activities. As the days proceeded, it was just like more and more major activities. So I think Monday night, after all the sessions, they had an activity at Tao, which was like, it was like three of us. We met at, I think, a one bar, and then we just became friends. That's the thing, is like, you just meet people, all of a sudden you're like, let's go to here. You're there. You guys are hanging out all night. It was me, a couple of guys, and then we ended up at Tao in the Venetian. The line was like amazingly long. I mean, once you have the pass, you're going to get in. It's just a matter of just waiting on the line, especially for the Tao place, where they have on top of Tao, they had like a pool party and stuff like that. So that was cool. I know it's swimming, but it's outside of the pool, and they had an inner nightclub and things like that. Really difficult. I mean, you're different networking. You still could talk to people. It's kind of music playing, so kind of a little bit hard to hear people. So it was just like, mainly fun, but you still did meet some folks. And this standard stuff, right? So they have breakfast where you could interact, lunch, and then in the evening you could go to the restaurant. It's mainly more like uh, different finger foods being passed around, sliders, and you're talking, having drinks, and so forth. So that was pretty much the experience on that side. A couple of things to note, right? That I found interesting. I talked about this on a vlog. It was inspiring, man, to just meet so many different types of founders. Basically, having an idea and executing on it. That was totally inspiring. Really, some good conversations I had, and you start thinking, maybe this person had a ton of experience in this particular sector prior to launching something that's serving over 90,000 people. And then when they talking to you one-on-one, they're like, no, I didn't have any experience in it, experience in startups maybe, and so on and so, but it's just the resilience of just constantly plugging away, going to experts and having conversations, having them kind of shoot you down on your particular idea and beliefs, and then fine tuning or just keep plugging away. One of the things that's interesting, and I think this came up, I was watching a podcast the other day, and this came up, and I'm looking at it from an example of some of the conversations I had. Sometimes when you are too educated in something, like you have an expertise in something, right? Whether it's educational pursuits and so forth. Sometimes that creates parameters around, okay, you have a certain, in your mind, like a certain framework, certain rules that you follow. Oh, we can't do this because I know this wouldn't work because of X, or this is the way that it's always been done. This is the standards. This is what I learned. And when you have an outsider, someone who with not that level of expertise, they're looking at it different. They're looking at that, and that's how disruption happens, right? Sometimes. I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to hone your craft and be an expert. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, in the conversations I had, is like, no, I didn't have experience in this. I know now, like I'm experienced in this now, but I came with a clean slate and a concept, an idea, like why doesn't this work like that? Why can't we do that? That makes sense, but why you're missing this? Like, this is what the people want. So it really had me think, really had me think. It was pretty inspiring from that perspective, to be totally honest. I'm going to get into more, right? But like anything, message from our sponsors. 1 second, and then we'll come back with some more information.
Are you an emerging fintech with a limited budget seeking more sales and partners? Introducing Strategic Generation, your partner in leveraging cybersecurity for sales and partner enablement. Fintechs often lose opportunities due to unsophisticated cybersecurity programs. That's where we come in. Strategic Generation assists with due diligence, security posture visibility, penetration testing, and on-demand virtual CISO services. We connect your systems to our partnered platform, and voila! Instant access to real-time diagnostics and compliance frameworks such as SOC 2 and PCI DSS. Gain the confidence of prospects and partners. Strengthen your cybersecurity program and drive success. Stop losing deals due to cybersecurity. Visit strategicgeneration.com and click on On-Demand CISO to connect with an expert.
Just like that, we are back. Another message from our sponsor for the month of November. You can log on free to their partnered platform, which is a compliance automation tool. In that 1 month, you'll have full access to all of the due diligence, SOC 2 automation, and various tools that can help your due diligence process and help you get SOC 2 compliant. If you're interested in that, please visit Strategic Generation and mention the Tech Behind FinTech. All right. Thank you. So now moving on back to the conference, right? Another thing that was huge, AI, artificial intelligence, all the rage. Had a really good conversation with a VC that I met. We were talking about AI. And what you're going to start seeing, right? And this was interesting, was like, it's like any gold rush, right? Let's think about the gold, every gold rush of the last few years. I mean, okay, crypto being one of them, right? So boom, crypto huge, everybody jumping on the crypto. Look, we talked about it on our show. We had a lot of blockchain specialists and stuff like that. Still, but everybody was jumping into it. AI is looking like the same thing. And like all of the different rushes, you're going to have some really, really interesting and really good products to solve some interesting problems. But and the Databricks CEO said similar. We were talking about that. The people that are going to win are the ones that can leverage their data, right? It's all about that underlying data. And then when you start getting like niche into it, so everyone's coming out with these models and everybody's doing AI, so it's all AI, yeah. But it's going to be the underlying data that is going to make you win. And I had an analogy on it, right? And the analogy I looked at, I talked about was diamonds in their raw form. And we went back and forth because this is like a good mental exercise. And I just thought about it on the fly, to be honest with you. So I was thinking about it, right? It's like diamonds in their raw form. Now, you may know how the manufacturing process, and forgive me because I don't know the terms of getting a diamond from their raw form all the way to what's on someone's left hand, right? But it's definitely a process. And a diamond in this raw form, it may not look like it's not going to look like the finished product. It may even look invaluable, but at the same time, that is still a diamond in its raw form, right? And it's of value. So now you can have the manufacturing process down packed, but if you don't have that diamond in their raw form, you're not going to get anything of value, right? You can be the best at the manufacturing. You don't have it, it's not going to be valuable. So the AI is looking like the same thing, right? That data, now you may not know how to manipulate the data to really gain some insights from it. That's when the technology comes in and the specialist comes in. But that's the ticket, having that data or access to that data, then you can make magic happen. So, we were talking about that, and it was an interesting conversation. Something that I'm going to be obviously exploring and looking more into. But AI is definitely it's a new wave, man, and you don't need money 2020 to tell you about that. I mean, the conference is just you could just any type of news. I mean, AI's been around for like a while, right? Obviously, but it's now mainstream. A lot of the large language models from ChatGPT to Bard that you see and is being leveraged. That's a major thing why it's just so more ubiquitous right now. But that's a big thing for different startups and so forth. What else? Talked about this on a blog. I really like the concept of using the banking transactions to monitor your carbon footprint and educate you on that. Shout out to Kogo. Really, really enjoyed that conversation. Really good conversation. So what else? What else do we have? Oh, okay. On the fun side of it, right? There was a concert Tuesday night, celebrating 50 years of hip hop. So started off with Spinderella and her daughter. That was pretty cool. DJ, and then Grandmaster Flash came out. Then Run DMC and his DJ came out. So that was pretty exciting. I haven't been to a event like that. I've been to, yeah, man. I've been locked down, so I haven't really been there. All right, so we have some stuff going. We have some stuff, questions from Instagram. Let's get glad you were from Kevin on Instagram. What is he saying? Glad you are back. Has the conference affected your goals for the new year? Wow, deep question, man. Deep question. How do I answer that? I guess honestly, all right, it affected the guest lineup. Definitely connected with some really interesting folks out there that are going to be on the show in 2024. It affected my thought process on some of the things that I was planning. I want to build. So it impacted that. Just getting inspired by the founders that I met. So it impacted my goals from that perspective. I feel that instead of just talking about ideas, I need to move on certain ideas to make it tangible. It impacted what I see the potential of this platform that we have, this IP, Tech Behind FinTech, and where we can go with it. Just having so many conversations with different people and just seeing, how can we leverage Tech Behind FinTech to better serve the FinTech community. What other goals from the conference? One major goal. So, or one major action, right? I'm going to start going to more conferences and more FinTech events. Look, I think COVID and being locked down impacted people in different ways, right? So for me, I was always, I'm about 2 hours from New York, constantly in New York. That's how I spent 20 years of my life. I was talking to somebody at the conference about that, commuting back and forth. Look, it's in the US, right? What do you have? New York, if you look at global FinTech centers, New York is that place. I mean, you have San Francisco, obviously, but if you're close to one of these hubs and you're not going to events as much anymore, that's a little bit of a waste. So I'm going to definitely start going to more events. You're going to see that, and I'll be talking about it. So that's one of the things I'm going to start doing moving forward for the new year, and it's sooner than later. Like, this is the first conference I've been to since being locked down, man. Just got into the remote world and just in my home office, and haven't really been venturing out too much. I mean, I did a couple of outings and some business related things that we traveled and I did that, right? But really just staying kind of staying local in my local environment and not really venturing. So getting out with the amount of people, I was like, wow, yeah, you used to do this actually. Like, this was a thing for you. Why did you stop? And look, you're inside more. You just start, you stay, that look, like I said, it impacted people in different ways. Now, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life physically because I fell back on that. But it's something I need to start doing, right? You have to meet people, you have to have conversations face to face, you have to interact, do all those things. So to answer your question, Kevin, yes, that's some of the things that I'm going to be doing for the new year. I'm going to start going to more events. Probably start being more of a staple at the Money 2020 conferences. Definitely, as going back under the media partnership, I want to bring more equipment. I like to have some live interview sessions at the spot. We didn't know we were going to go to this conference, so a lot of equipment and things that we would have liked, we just didn't have that available at the time. But definitely something moving forward. Like to see if my team, like somebody else on my team, can come next time. So that'll be good. And yeah, man, good question. You kind of had me. This is live, so sometimes people ask questions live, and you're like totally transparent. It's not even like a scripted answer. I'm just telling you how I feel. So, good question, Kev. Gonna make me get in touch with my inner feelings and stuff. All right. So that's some of the stuff that I was planning to go. What else? Yeah. So the conference overall, man, it's major, like I said, huge, thousands. You cannot meet every single person there. So you just like, I think one of the tips that I learned is just be cool, man, and being like, I know it's just a generic, like be cool, but nah, like this, remember this movie, what was the movie Pulp Fiction? Be cool, man. Yeah, just be open to have a conversation with someone. That's what I learned. I mean, no matter who the person is. I mean, they have a badge. They're there. It's like, oh, what's up? What do you do? Like, what's your name? And where you like? I even met people who like one guy I met on the monorail. I didn't have my badge on. Just growing up, growing up in New York and having to take a train when you're in high school. And some of the characters, some people used to always have like their ID study. What happened? High school, when I was early on in my career, we had to wear, you work for these major banks, you have an ID, and it was so I just, it's just as soon as I leave work, I take the ID badge off. I remember a friend of mine, a coworker that I used to work with, colleague, he had his ID on him, and he didn't realize it. So he's on the train, and I'm just gonna call him Bob for right now. Different name. I don't want to say his real name. So anyway, he's on the New York train. Somebody's like, "Hey, Bob, what's up, man?" He's like, "Yo, how did this guy know my name?" He had his ID on. So anyway, I always take badges and stuff off when I leave whatever event. But there's a dude who actually had his badge still on. I was like, "Oh, you're from the conference, right?" He's like, "Yeah." And we got into a cool conversation, and he was there with a group, and I think it was just about an MBA student, and it's just about more networking and just showing them the different ropes and stuff like that, some programs. So it was a interesting conversation that we had. But yeah, man, overall, really, really, really great experience. I think is really organized how they put it together. I was talking to some people that are best, and I think it's on my badge. I think it was a color that I had on my badge, and that indicates that I'm a first timer. So some people, it was so funny. That's all. Somebody said that at a bar. But overall, I think I'm going to start organizing different fintech conferences. I'm going to go to an event, and Money 2020 is going to definitely be one of the staples. Because it's like, I remember last year, somebody was like, "Oh, did you go?" And somebody I had on my show, and I was like, "Oh no, I didn't make it." So, why are you there? But I can see why people would say that's literally like the Super Bowl of conferences, how they positioned and branded themselves. Pretty amazing stuff. And tons of, oh yeah, so there's like tons of vendors, right? And companies. So some people have rooms, but it's one area where it's just, I don't know, it's like a football field of different vendors with different booths and different things of that nature. So having conversations with them. I saw this one group, I think they were a security company, I don't know, but all the people that worked, they had like an orange sneakers. It was wild, man. But so they're very noticeable. So everyone, and it might have been like 10 or 11 of them, and all of them had orange sneakers. Some had an orange t-shirt and a matching orange sneaker. So they really stood out. So interesting brand and marketing. I think it matched with their logo and so forth. Somebody I used to work with, the CEO I used to work with, funny guy, I'm not going to mention names, but he hated the concept of people with that use like sneakers and gear for their marketing. Like absolutely hated it because they have like they're giving out sneakers, man. So I found that funny. That was hilarious. When I saw that, I immediately thought of this particular CEO. If he's watching, he's gonna laugh because he knows I'm talking about him. But he always hated that idea. Somebody's asking, do you have different cameras for Instagram versus LinkedIn? Yeah, I do. So Instagram, we use StreamYard and for our podcast, and it doesn't integrate with Instagram. It integrates with Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. And Instagram, I have another camera directly in Instagram. That's why you get the side view. But if you want, go to the Tech Behind FinTech.com, and there's a link there to our main camera that we use. I don't know who this is, but he's like, "Hey, what's up?" So you know what? I'm gonna shout you out, bro. Hey, what's up back to you? All right. That is it. So listen, we've been on for a while. I think overall, great experience. And it's something called, like, I just learned this. I didn't even know this was a thing. Vegas voice. So I came back. I mean, you might not hear it now, but I came back. My voice was ultra raspy. And I think because you're out in the desert, it starts to you start to get dried out. But I sound like I hear myself. I think I'm sounding like back to my normal self. So just random. I know, totally random. But anyway, I think that's our show today. Just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on it. I didn't know I'll be talking for like 42 minutes. So funny because I was talking to a founder from a fintech, and a lot of people have like just like, yo, how do you go live? How do you do that? Like, in terms of like, what are you going to talk about? I don't know if I can do it. And I told her something interesting. I was like, listen, you just have to get comfortable with talking to yourself. And I grew up, I have siblings, but they're older than me. So I grew up kind of like to myself with a very active imagination. And so I just like, so when you can do that, you can talk to yourself like, yeah, it's not a problem. You could just basically hop on and just start, talking, obviously keeping on topic. But if you can do that, then this should not be a problem. Oh, wow. Okay. I have both instances on. That's how I know this is your cousin. Oh, what's up, cuz? I didn't know that was you. You seem to, I think you changed your Instagram name. Yeah, man, we have to talk. You're supposed to be a guest on my show. And we keep missing. Yeah, well, you were a guest, but you're supposed to be a return and get your expertise. We have to link up. All right. Well, listen, I think that is the show today. Next week, we're going to have a guest on. We're going to have an interesting topic. We'll start advertising for that shortly, and you'll see it. But as always, Tech Behind FinTech, Fridays, 12 p.m. live. You can always catch us. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all you guys. Thanks for the comments and so forth. But we're gonna be moving on with some really interesting topics. I'm thinking a lot of the people that we met, kind of get them on and really shed light and just help educate and really talk through some really cool stuff. That is it for today. Make this weekend phenomenal. I will catch you guys next week at 12 p.m. Oh, what we also started doing. So do me a favor, right? Go to our website. We have a YouTube and a link, right? Hit the YouTube link, hit subscribe. You got to increase our subscription viewers. Also, if you're on LinkedIn, go to the Tech Behind FinTech page and follow us. Because what we started to do recently was post clips of some of our interesting shows. So you'll see that on the Tech Behind FinTech LinkedIn page, and also hit us up on YouTube. Thank you, as always, for watching. Appreciate every single last one of you guys. And I will catch you next week. Cheers.
Understanding the technology that powers the money is essential. Knowing the business drivers that inspire how the money is made is crucial. Bridging the gap between the mind of the technologist and the mind of the business is monumental. That is what TBF is all about. Let's start this never-ending conversation. It's time.